What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So something is about to happen again where the Biden administration is planning to take back billions of dollars that they provided to the American people for assistance. I want to bring you that story in just a minute. We're also going to address how U.S. COVID cases are surging once again. We will dive into how hundreds of Christmas flights have been canceled due to Omicron and other reasons. And I want to give you a quick little stimulus update. So first off, happy or Merry Christmas Eve. Today is Friday, December 24th. Hopefully many of you are celebrating with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. If you can, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. It really does help out the channel. But let's get into the update for today. Here's what we know. First, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he is not done trying to push this Build Back Better Act. He's not done trying to provide the agenda for the Democratic Party. He says, and in a letter to his caucus, he said that he is done messing around. He says, and I quote, "The Senate will consider voting rights legislation as early as the first week back, which, according to reports, should be anywhere between the 6th to the 10th. Now, I just want to be very clear. Many lawmakers are going to come back to Washington on the 6th of January because they say they don't want people to think that they're scared. Because, again, remember, January 6th is the 1-year anniversary of the Capitol riots. However, the Senate, or Congress really in general, is not supposed to be back until January 10th. So we'll see when they ultimately return. However, and he goes on to say, if Senate Republicans continue to abuse the filibuster and prevent the body from considering this bill, the Senate will then consider changes to any rules which prevent us from debating and reaching final conclusion on important legislation. AKA, he's going to try to change the filibuster. Here's what I can tell you, because right now, changing the rules to the filibuster has a lot of support from Democrats, not from Republicans. But it still needs to get the support from Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Kyrsten Sinema. That's the problem. They don't want to remove the filibuster completely. Now, you can have a rule change where there's an exception to the voting rights bill for the filibuster. That can be done, and President Biden supports that. But he didn't say if he would support the same ruling for the Build Back Better Act, which, according to reports, that wouldn't get the same support. So we'll see what happens, but what I can tell you is that Democrats, specifically within the Senate, are trying to figure out different ways to pass their agenda. But right now, that's not the only problem that Democrats are having. There are still other parts of the agenda that Democrats, or especially members of the Senate, want to get done. But many people from the Senate were not on board completely. One of those was the billionaire tax in the Build Back Better Act. Now, here's what we know this morning. According to the Washington Post this morning, they are saying that Senator Joe Manchin did tell President Biden in his private meetings when he did his private proposal, he said he would support a version of the tax on billionaires. So this could be his way of getting a little bit closer to what President Biden wants and what Democrats are truly after. This will also increase the amount of funding that could go into the pay for this next bill. But at the same time, and he didn't get clarification on this, this is why he doesn't support the bill, is because, okay, let's tax the billionaires, that's fine. But if we tax billionaires, and let's say they get additional, let's say $200 billion out of it, right? They get an additional $200 billion, that would essentially mean they can go up to $1.95 trillion, or for even number's sake, let's just say $2 trillion. The problem is Senator Joe Manchin still didn't get the clarification and okay that yes, Democrats are going to stop at $2 trillion. They will not go up over that. They will not deficit spend. That's not going to happen. But according to the CBO, if any of the provisions get extended, which the most likely one would be the child tax credit payments, if that were to get extended, the problem is it would cost closer to $3 trillion. So Senator Joe Manchin was not going to go for that. Now, what multiple lawmakers have said recently is that Senate Democrats have been discussing multiple things behind the scenes. They want to get their entire agenda done before long. This means the voting rights bill and the Build Back Better Act. They are saying right now that the voting rights bill is most likely it has the highest chance of passing over that and the Build Back Better Act. The reason for this is because, and this is the way Democrats are looking at it, okay? I'm not saying I'm on either side here. I'm just saying this is the way Democrats are looking at it. If Democrats don't go forward with the voting rights bill, they are expecting it's going to be much harder in Republican states, especially Texas is going to be a difficult one. But they're saying it's going to be much harder to get Democrats into positions of office. And they say that because of the changes that Republicans are making. Well, here's what I can tell you. If the voting rights bill doesn't change, Republicans do have the upper hand, okay? But if it changes, Democrats have the upper hand. Here's the reason why Democrats are saying, let's go with the voting rights bill first over the Build Back Better Act. If the Build Back Better Act gets slashed, remember, Senator Bernie Sanders won at $6 trillion. It went down to $3.5 trillion, which then it went down to about 2 to 2.4. Then they settled about $1.75 trillion, which again, it never passed. But here's what they're saying. Let's get the voting rights bill, let's fix that. Because then, according to Democrats, we have a better chance of getting more people into seats. We get more Democrats into the seats. We get more Democrats into power. We get more Democrats into the House and the Senate, specifically the Senate. If we get more Democrats into Congress, that will make it easier to pass. Because if the Senate is not split 50-50, and let's say it's a 54, right, 46, guess what? Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Kyrsten Sinema don't have that much pull. Especially if Democrats plan on doing another budget reconciliation, those two votes wouldn't matter because they would still have a 52 to 48 majority. And they only need 51 votes. So the interesting thing about that is Democrats are trying to go a roundabout way to get the Build Back Better Act passed the way they want it. Senator Joe Manchin says, no, I won't support that. Well, guess what? If Democrats can get more people in the Senate and the House, Senator Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, their votes really wouldn't matter. And so that's the issue. But as to when these things actually happen, we don't know. Will the Build Back Better Act actually happen in 2022? The expectation is yes. But chances are, if the voting rights bill gets passed and Democrats think, oh, we could potentially just pass this Build Back Better Act, this modified version that Senator Joe Manchin wants, let's get that done. He'll be happy with it. Voters will be happy. They'll vote us in. And then in 2023, we'll just come back in and we'll just completely change everything. Which again, it's possible. So we'll see. Let's get into some rental assistance news because I think this is extremely important. Remember when I told you not very long ago that if you need rental assistance, you should quickly apply and get in the queue? Well, I hope you did that. And here's the reason why. According to reports, currently, as of this morning, the Biden administration is continuing reallocating some of the rental assistance funding to more efficient areas. For instance, they've only sent out about $24 billion of the $46.5 billion in rental assistance funding. And the Treasury Department, according to the reports this morning, wants to move funds to areas who have been very slow, or move funds away from areas that have been very slow to distribute the funding. And they want to move it to areas that are quicker to release the funding to the American people. So, places like Wyoming, Montana, and other rural areas of the United States are likely to lose their funding very soon. Here's what's going to happen. And again, I've been saying this for the past year that rental assistance programs they're the cause of a lot of these problems is because the funding is so slow to get out. They put them in a queue, and again, it's not really the programs, it's not the people that work there, it's the lack of people that work in these programs. Because almost every single case has to be personally verified, and that takes time. Lawmakers, I told you guys this before, lawmakers should have tried to fix this issue or the programs would not be that effective, which they haven't been that effective. There's still 20 some billion dollars, $22.5 billion roughly, that needs to go out. And guess what? It's just sitting there. It's just sitting there because of how slow these programs actually are. Now, do I think lawmakers are going to come back after hearing this news and be like, oh, we need to get off of our recess. We need to go back to Washington. We need to vote on this. We need to fix this. I don't expect that. The changes I expect are going to come from the administration side, which means chances are some of these states are going to lose their funding, which is not going to be great. But if the states don't need the funding, if let's say Montana doesn't need rental assistance, okay, that's fine. Take some of that and move it to areas of the country that do need more rental assistance. But at the same time, we don't know what's going to happen. But again, as I know more, I promise I'll come back and share all the latest news and updates. But let's get into the Christmas Eve flights that have been canceled. I read this story last night. And when I woke up this morning, I woke up and I thought, you know what? I wonder how bad things got. Well, as of 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning, U.S. Airlines has canceled 450 flights just for today. United Airlines canceled 169 flights, and Delta has canceled 127 flights. All of these are due to actually multiple reasons. In a few places, some of the flights are being canceled due to fog, snow, inclement weather, stuff like that. But in the majority of places, flights are being canceled due to staffing shortages due to Omicron. Now, here's what I can tell you. There's a reason for the staffing shortages. Now, just the other day, multiple airline executives requested that the CDC actually updates their isolation guidance for Omicron. They didn't do that. I've been looking for this for about a week. They have not done that. The executive stated that if the isolation period wasn't shortened to less than 10 days, there could be many issues regarding flights. This is probably what they meant. That people were already having to stay home because they tested positive. Now, even though Omicron simply produces a runny nose and scratchy throat, according to reports, I just want you to understand, if a person tests positive, then they have to stay home, quarantine, and isolate for 10 days if they're vaccinated, 14 if they're not. But here's the thing. And I addressed this yesterday, that in Britain, they are saying that instead of 10 days, you only have to isolate for 7. But if you, in order to stop isolating after 7 days, you have to take a test at day 6 and it has to come back negative. But according to the CDC, they state that even after 10 days or 14 days, you could still test positive, even though you're asymptomatic and this virus will not be transmitted through you. So it's interesting. But as of right now, nobody's really making moves. Everybody's kind of just standing around waiting to see what happens. But let's get into some COVID news as of today. As of this morning, the United States is now reporting 182,682 new COVID cases per day. This is the highest 7-day average since January. I believe it was towards the end of January of 2021. This was also the height of the Delta variant last year. But again, experts do anticipate that the peak of Omicron is not right now. It will actually be towards the early to middle part of January, which is somewhat scary. Health experts are now saying that vaccines are the reason for mild symptoms in most people. New research also suggests that vaccinated individuals may never know that they have the Omicron variant because of the effectiveness of the vaccines and the booster shot. Okay? But at the same time, okay, UK research suggests that the booster shot's efficacy rate drops within the first 10 weeks. And researchers say that this doesn't mean another booster shot would be needed at this time, but they say there is just not enough severe cases of Omicron yet to truly analyze the effectiveness of the boosters. So again, some are wanting more information, but the problem is the information isn't out there because we have to do the research first. And if you follow the science tells us there's not enough data to analyze. A lot of issues. But again, I will be here every step of the way. Again, hopefully you guys have a very Merry Christmas. Just want to thank you guys for watching today's video. I may be on later on today, but I might be spending more time with my friends. Or really no friends, but my family and loved ones. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys on the next one.